So what we've said already is that when I'm throwing this ball, it's all about sequencing my arms with my midline. If I do it properly, flies pretty straight, comes back to me, right? Now I also know that if I have a slow midline and an arm wrap that's going left, if I've got a high center of gravity drift, that's my midline being fast, that's that block right, okay? Now, but knowing that these two things, a fast midline creates a fade and a slow midline creates a draw, now this is what I'm doing this exercise for. Whether I walk in from back here or I say I walk in from over here, check my club face, check my grip. If I walk in, it's the same walking pattern. I've got a tempo that I walk at. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I'm sort of in the middle of quick and slow. So say I choose to walk in from back here. I'm going to walk in and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I pull the trigger. Now it might be smaller steps than that, it might be a bit more subtle, but the cadence is going to be pretty similar. So if I walk in and say there's just a little less movement, it's still the same thing. I'm still going right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, smaller movements, and I'm waggling at the same time. What am I doing when I'm going right, left? Well, I'm finding my center of balance. I'm managing my center of gravity that way, right? So I can manage it relative to the ball. But the other thing I'm doing is I'm setting the tone for how fast this is going to turn. So if I walk in normally, I'm trying to hit a straight shot. If I want to hit a cut, knowing that I want to move my midline a little bit faster, I may walk in just a hair up tempo. Nothing that somebody outside could really tell, but enough that tells me this is a slightly up tempo thing because I want this to move faster to hold the face off. Right? So I'm going to walk in just slightly up tempo, and as I get in here and I settle, I've already preset my rhythm. I know I want this to move a little bit faster, but not ridiculously fast, and then I've got that feeling, boom, that I'm going to hit that shot. If I want to hit a draw, it's opposite. I'm going to walk in slightly down tempo, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm presetting the fact that I think this is going to move just a hair slower. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to control my curve with my rhythm, and now I'm walking through the golf course. Right? I'm going to walk all the way through. Because when I get over here and I stop, now I've got to reset the whole thing. Now the phenomena is this. If I walk up to Rod and I go like this, I go, hey, how's it going? In about 5 seconds he forgets where my hand is on his shoulder because it's not moving. But if I move it around like this, he knows where I am all the time. Right? It's the same thing with my center of gravity. If I walk in, so I've got my rhythm and I understand how I'm using my tempo. I walk in like this, and then you play with the guys that I don't know where my center of gravity is relative to the ball now. I can guess, because I can start to go visual, but I'd rather be in here going feel, moving back and forth. I can tell where it is relative to the ball. Right? And then when I make a move back, Now I can use my athleticism. If I feel like I'm too far ahead of it, I can actually make a correction. I'm using my athleticism to hit a ball rather than setting up and dogmatically trying to make a perfect swing to fit that ball position. Now I'm being more athletic, right? And the tolerances, I might be adjusting like half a ball. If I'm way out of position, odds are I'm going to hit not a great shot, right? But that way I'm using my rhythm to come into the ball. And then quite obviously, because I'm controlling my center of gravity here, a high shot, I've got my center of gravity back. A lower shot, more penetrating, I've got it over here. But my angle of attack is always shallow because of my leg action. So that means I've got pretty much true loft. So I can control my distances better. Right? Does that make sense? So that's why we're working so hard on rhythm. Rhythm's the thing that holds the mechanics together. I take rhythm over mechanics all day long. Because if you're in rhythm, odds are you're in balance. By default, you're going to have not bad. It may not be optimized, but it's going to be pretty close. So now watch this. This is just an extension of that drill. So now I'm going to go. I'm just going to do my normal walking thing. Right up here. Step, 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 plant, step, and throw. It's the same throw. I'm just going to go on a little bit of an angle, athletically load my back foot, plant, and throw off my front foot. Okay? It's just adding a little bit of rotation. Here we go. This is when perfectly normal people forget how to walk. Let's try it.
A lot of walking drills, because when you're walking, center of gravity is obviously supported by this leg, then it's the other leg, right? So when I walk in, what I'd like to be able to do, if I want to manage my shot trajectory, I've got to manage my center of gravity really well. So when I walk in and I'm going right, left, I'm sensitive, right? I'm not stopping. I'm moving my center of gravity back and forth relative to the golf ball. So I know where I am relative to the ball the whole time. As soon as I stop, I'm not exactly sure where my center of gravity, I know where the ball is, but I'm not so sure where my center of gravity is. So what I'd like to be able to do is come in, move my center of gravity around, set in, and then hit my shot, still in an athletic motion. When I start to stop, or when I get over and I try to set everything, I don't have such a strong athletic sense of where the ball is, right? So if I take it, if I'm back here, and we're talking about walking into it, I'm going to walk into my shot, say I'm going to try to hit a little cut. So I'm going to walk up just a tad up tempo, but I'm always going to be going from one foot to the other. One foot to the other, and then as I settle in, I can actually keep this moving, relative, my midline moving relative to my hands. I want to be able to keep everything moving so there's some flow to it, right? Now, if I'm going to choose to move the club around, that's going to help me too. Like we were saying, when I'm waggling, it's crossing midline. I get more sensitive to things to my midline when I've got the club in my hands crossing it, because I get a better sense of where it is. So when I'm walking in, and the club is always opposite where my weight's distributed, right? So as I walk in, I've got a stronger sense of where my midline is because of how I'm waggling the club and how I'm actually moving my feet, right? So let's hit some shots and see if we can avoid that sort of stopping sort of motion. It's going to feel weird to hit a ball without stopping dead for some of you, right? But hopefully that'll actually have the rhythm to come over so it feels more like a continuous move through the ball.